In this video, we're going to continue working in the Contracts pillar in AGI Compass, and today we're going to focus on the submenu selection of Input. This is where you can track all of your harvest yields and inputs and put them into your different storage locations, whether that's bins, bags, or creating bags directly in your fields, and exactly how Compass builds the traceability to this, but also can track your harvested bushels per acre back to your crop plan, or if you chose to harvest from your crop plan, and I encourage you to watch that video series, how we can automatically pull those into the Contracts pillar as well. First and foremost, get logged into your Compass system, click on the Contracts pillar, and then focus the submenu to the Input section. Yield input is where we're going to be able to perform all of our different harvests in Compass, and we're going to build out our traceability just by filling out some of the basic information in the middle. Compass allows you to track your yields multiple ways, whether that's yielding to a crop plan itself, whether that's from a specific field, and it will also allow you to allocate bushels of this crop or to metric tons to specific contracts. Meaning you can then only ship those bushels or harvested amounts to a specific buyer and contract. Let's take a look at multiple options available to us here. We'll walk through it, how to use this, and as well how it's going to track those yields per acre back to your crop plan. Right here we can see the crop and variety drop-down menu selection, and here we can either use the same principles we've done throughout Compass, scroll through the menu, or use the type box to look for something. This will pull your crop and varieties from list management, and if you need some extra help, I encourage you to watch that video series as well. Next, we're presented with the choice, do we want to associate this harvest to an active crop plan that we have available? This is stage one of building our traceability. We don't have to associate our harvests with a specific crop plan, but by saying these harvests from these fields came from this crop plan, we now have traceability documentation showing our application dates, rates, timing, and everything we performed to those fields and that crop historically in Compass. This is a great way to start building your traceability very quickly and very passively. In this case, we're going to select the wheat crop plan we have. Next, we can select from a specific field, and then we have the option presented to us, do we wish to associate these bushels or allocate them to a specific contract? Allocating bushels to this contract for linear grain means I can only ship them to this buyer and that contract. Once allocated bushels that are dedicated to a contract, once that contract itself has been fulfilled, any pre-allocated bushels will automatically release and become cash croppable or usable to help fulfill your other contracts that you have in the Compass system. Let's take a look at doing this two different ways. We'll bring in some bushels allocated to a specific contract, and then we'll do some as cash croppable. In this case, we're going to bring in 3,500 bushels from field 1, and we're going to associate them to this contract. Additional information that's optional is adding my temperature, my moisture percentage, but I do have to select a specific harvest date. You may remember how to use our menus here. Let's go back, and we're going to select this was from September 2021, and we harvested on the 14th. I also have a comments box where I can add up to 250 additional characters as comments for this particular harvest or yield. Moving my way down the screen, I'm presented with a three-prong selection where I can choose to put this input into a bin, I can choose to put this harvest into a bag that's pre-created, or I can even create bags as I'm harvesting. Let's take a look at the three different options and the metrics available to you. One thing you may notice, as I select bin, I'm only presented with a single bin to put this input or harvest into. And that's because Compass has been designed to eliminate the ability of accidental cross-contamination by putting multiple crop varieties into the same bin. What I mean by that is we're selecting wheat as our crop variety, and Compass is only going to show me bins that are either completely empty or have the same crop variety already in them. So I couldn't accidentally put this variety of wheat into a bin that already contained durum or hard red spring wheat, because Compass would keep them separate. So here I can select my specific bin I wish to add this to. And in the menu below, it'll show me what's currently in that bin, what I've planned to add to it, and the remaining space in that bin. Next, if we select bag, we're going to be presented with the same metrics in the dropdown. Bags that are either empty or already contain this crop and variety that we can harvest into. In this case, I already have one pre-made selected bag that we could harvest into. This does show just the pre-made bags you would have set up back in one of your other videos under the Storage tab. Lastly, we can create a bag as we're in the field, and this allows us to very quickly start harvesting directly into it. First, we can select which yard this bin is associated with. If we have multiple yards, if you only have a single yard, Compass is automatically going to pre-select it in this drop-down for you. Next, we are required to give this bag a name. We'll call this test. And what's the capacity in bushels or the volume or weight that this crop and variety was set up for. Let's go here and we're going to say this is a 5,000 bushel bag, and an optional is moisture, associating this to a specific field if that's where it's going to be contained. Or I can leave this blank as no field selected. A description, up to 50 characters, and a temperature. Compass also lets me know by clicking Add Input. Not only will it add the input directly to the bag, it's going to create one bag of 50,000 bushels, or 5,000 bushels, monitoring the same information. Let's go ahead and we're just going to harvest directly into one of our bins. And again, we can only select the one because it has this crop and variety in it. We don't happen to have any empty bins on the farm. I also have this button here that allows me to show all bins, and it would show me all the bins that would be available to me, regardless of yard or wherever they're stored. Let's go ahead now. We've selected all of our different data that we want here, and we're just going to click the Add Input button. Now, it's not directly added to our bins yet. Just like in crop planning, Compass will drop all of your yield inputs that you're creating here into a tray for quick review. So it is a two-pronged process. We're going to fill out our details up above, click Add Input, review it very quickly, and we can use the red trash can to remove it without saving, or click Save Inputs, and in real time, Compass will add 3,500 bushels of this crop and variety to this bin, and we know historically where it exactly came from, which crop plan, which field, everything. Let's go ahead and click Save Inputs. Let's very quickly just take a look at that bin, storage, bin, and we're going to go to feedlot 2. There it is. We click on it, and we're going to see that we've just put in our harvest values from September 14th for 3,500 bushels. If we go back to our crop plan, we can see that creating our inputs or our yield inputs from the contracts pillar, when we go back to our wheat plan and field 1, it's already calculating out our bushels per acre, and if we click the plus icon, we can very quickly see there's the harvest we just created. It was manual entry, yes, and we can add some more details to it, edit or delete the harvest as well. So Compass will automatically build out your yield per acre based on everything you're doing automatically in the contracts pillar. Let's go ahead now, and we said we were going to do a second input of the same crop, so let's just go through and do that. Selected my crop plan. Yes, we're building our traceability. Let's go down and we're going to select field 2, or let's try one of our other fields. There, this is what I was looking for. Field 3. Now, we did a crop harvest from the crop plan way back when. There it is on September 10th. But we haven't put it into a storage location. So if I create a crop harvest from the crop plan, and I encourage you to watch our video series on that, now I can select it, Compass will bring in the harvest date automatically, the number of bushels. Allow me to select whether this is going to a contract allocated or non-allocated cash croppable. Let's do that as well. And we're going to scroll down and we're going to follow through. This time we're going to put this into our bag that we have available. And we're going to just click Add Input. There we can see it in the tray down below. Compass is letting us know it's going into this bag. It's going from this variety, this quantity of bushels, and this was the harvest date. Now let's click our Save key. And our inputs were added successfully to our bag. Lastly, let's bring in an input, but let's go and see what happens when we don't have enough available storage space. This time we're going to focus on a different variety. We're going to do some canola. And again, you can see we have a crop plan active that we can track this to. We can pull from a specific field, and we can do this as cash crop or for a contract. Let's do it cash crop today. And we're going to bring in 50,000 bushels. Again, the data that I'm using here is only for trading purposes and not reflective of actual harvests or yields. Next, let's go ahead and select a bin to put that in, and you can see here we do not have enough storage in one of our specific bins. So what could we do? It tells us right away we're well over that. So clicking Add Input is going to bring up a different choice box. Now we know that we're going to overfill that specific bin. Compass is asking, what do you wish to do? Do you want to overfill that bin? Do you want to trim any overflow from this input and put it into a separate bin? Or do you want to trim it completely from the input? I highly recommend you select option A or B, as option C will automatically delete any remaining bushels above and beyond what we can fit into this bin below. Meaning you would then have to do a separate input or yield input to bring those bushels into Compass. Let's go ahead and look at put overflow into a different bin, and any associated bins I had available would show here as well. Let's go ahead, we're going to actually go bag. We don't have a bag selected, so let's create a bag and let's go through the same process. We're going to put this in the main yard. Test canola is what we're going to call it, and we're going to say that this bag has a 15,000 bushel capacity. What you see down below now is Compass is now going to create 4 bags of 15,000 bushels, 3 to take the 45,000 bushels that we have existing, and 1 of 5,000 bushels in with 10,000 bushel remaining space. Let's go ahead and add our yield input, and just down below, very quickly, Compass is creating 4 bags of 50,000 bushels very quickly. Save, close, and let's go and take a look at what we've just done in our storage location. Click on bag, and we have 4 bags called test canola, 15,000 bushels each filled. That's 45,000 bushels total, and the remaining 5 went into this last bag. That same principle would apply if you're selecting your bins. However, on my farm, I just didn't have any available other bins to trim my overflow into. This has been how to bring in your inputs, whether they're pre-contracted, selected from a crop plan, or whether or not they're from a particular field. Let's do one last quick input, and this time we're going to do it from 0 crop plan, but still be able to attach it to different items. We're going to select our barley and our Bentley. We do have a crop plan, but we can say no crop plan selected, meaning we can still bring in an input, track the crop and variety, what field and date and storage location it went into, still giving me a lot of traceability data. So now we have all of our fields on farm available. And we can say, is this being sold to a contract? Well, in this case, we don't have any option. We don't have a contract set up for barley Bentley. We're going to bring in 5,000 bushels and pick our harvest date back September 22nd. Scrolling down, we're going to look at bin. Do we have any available? We already have a bin with this variety in it. Our West Steel number 1 already has 3,500 bushels of the same crop variety in it. Let's go ahead and we're going to just select that bin to add our input to. And there it is down below. So even if you don't have a crop plan in the active season for this particular crop or variety, you can still perform your harvests. Save the inputs, and in real time it goes into those bins. This has been how to add your inputs to AGI Compass. If you require more assistance than this video was able to provide, I highly encourage you contact your AGI Compass support representative at 1-866-278-9530 and book an online training session today. As always, thanks for watching and have a fantastic day.